And we're back. And the Oklahoma City Thunder, they played a game, and it was a stressful one. I felt like I lost a year of my life watching that game, but
Big old
Oklahoma
baby.
City pulled it off here. Jay, what's going on? How are you doing today?
Doing good, PG, man. Thanks for having me. I could talk some Thunderball with you. I've been meaning to get to it, but I'm finally home so we can actually talk ball.
Yes, yes. For those who don't know, Jay and I talk a lot of OU athletics. So this is a great breakaway from college to shift into the pro game. And listen, the Thunder are the hot topic. And they're also the team that's going to take a couple years off your life because they're young. And to
Big
me,
old
in my
baby.
opinion, trying to figure this out. So, Jay, I feel like this is going to be a lot of fun because I have the more immediate reaction, dooming opinions, and you're here to kind of talk me off that ledge a little bit and talk some sense into me. So I think people are going to have a little bit of fun with this today.
I agree. It's going to be a good time. I'll talk you off the ledge, help you out. But yeah, we're going to have some fun with this one.
Well, yeah. So initial reactions: the Thunder win a game, 92-87 in Denver. So you finally reclaimed home court. The series is tied 2-2. You finally took advantage of a game where Jokic didn't really play well again, but you didn't win it in the way that a lot of people expected you to win it after the Nuggets only put up, what was it, like 8 points in the first quarter? What was
Eight.
some of your initial reactions?
What what I caught initially out of this was you could tell they were all gassed and trying to get themselves back going. Perfect example. Chet mentioned this after the first quarter on the sideline interview, and he said, "This is the closest thing to a back-to-back that you would get for us, mainly because we had the late game going into overtime on Friday night, and then we turn around and have the morning, early afternoon game on Sunday. So there wasn't the typical. It was barely 36 hours before they started playing again, and that's not common. It's usually get you closer to the 48 hours as possible. But yeah, they played pretty quick, and it looked like it. Nobody had their legs. The Thunder, the first quarter is exactly why the Thunder won this game in the fourth, because the way they played in the first and missing as much as they were, but still playing really good defense and finding a way to get buckets closer to the basket at certain key points and extending leads. That's how they did in the fourth quarter, which is something they needed to do. We talked about this, PG. This team needed to have those moments of playing close games and closing out. I felt like this was probably the most important game for them this season.
Yeah, because in a lot of ways, this game felt like game one, especially towards the end. And I was telling you before we started, I still think the Thunder need to play probably the rest of their games within 10 points because they need to continue to get a little bit of this under their belt, understand the rotations, and just be able to go out there and understand how to win a close basketball game in the playoffs because it is so vastly different from the regular season, especially, when you're playing close games within 48 hours. So I thought this was a great win for Oklahoma City. I think they took advantage of the non-Jokic minutes, and I felt like we saw Mark in this game make adjustments that we haven't seen him make in any of the playoff series that he's had in Oklahoma City. I felt like we saw more Wiggins today when Wiggins was
Yeah.
actually being really productive for us instead of pulling him. Like I think yesterday he pulled him at some point and I was like, wait, Wiggins was just out there hitting shots for you. Why? And then they let Caruso ride in the fourth quarter and benched Dort. And I know a lot of people might have their own opinion on this. Felt like it was the right decision. Dort, I felt like shouldn't have been taking some of those 3-point shots. I know you said that, hey, like you got to make teams respect him. But I felt like it was a good decision for Mark to go and say, listen, like, I need you to sit. Caruso has been just as good of a defender, great on offense. We're going to ride with him and see how this goes. And Oklahoma City got a lot different of an outcome. And Dort is, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he's an NBA champion with the Lakers, right? So, like, he's got
Caruso,
experience.
not Dort, but
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, Caruso, yeah. So he's got that experience under his belt, and he can help anchor those guys on the court.
No, I see. You're not wrong. In this series, I do agree. Caruso fits better in the stretch than Dort does for this series. More so, Denver, and we saw with a lot of the turnovers in this game, Denver's pretty sloppy with their dribble. And Caruso does a really good job of slapping at the ball. I mean, there was 14 total turnovers in this game, but it felt like a heck of a lot more, right? It felt like there were more than 14 for both teams, but they both finished with 14 statistically. Caruso's really good at getting at the ball on a team that doesn't dribble very well. Denver's also not they're not as physical on the perimeter as a team like Golden State or even Minnesota. So in those series, you do want Dort playing. While at the same time, when Dort's in the game, I do want Dort shooting those threes because I want teams to force him to drive, which opens up passing lanes, which Dort is an underrated passer, in my personal opinion. You open up those passing lanes, things get better. Now, the Thunder got better in the fourth quarter when they started getting back to their movement and passing the ball around. And I don't mind shooting threes and missing if you're taking threes that are like good open threes. Don't run up on a fast break, stop, shoot a three. Don't pull the Boston stuff. And we talked about this in the green room. The big problem with Boston is Boston doesn't play a physical brand of basketball.
Yep.
They're always living and dying off the perimeter, in which we've shown that that's not a winning solution in most cases. Boston did get a ring recently, so I can't argue and say that it doesn't work. They won it last series, but at the same time they played against a Dallas team that for some reason forgot how to shoot the ball right after they play Oklahoma City. It's just like they just forgot how to do it. It's just they fell off a cliff. But that's what Oklahoma City's got to get better at, is defending and passing the ball around better. The defense is there. They showed a lot of the defense, so they really don't get better. They need to get better at defending the three ball that gets in ball movement, and they need to also continue their ball movement, which I think the Thunder can do long term.
Yeah, and one of the things that I'm watching for in this series specifically is what do you do outside of Shea? And today I felt like if the Denver Nuggets had just a little bit more of a pulse, Oklahoma City goes down 3-1 because I felt like Chet and J-Dub disappeared. You felt Chet's presence on the rebounding. He had 13 rebounds, but Jalen Williams' stat line tonight, he had a -3. He had 10 points, 3 rebounds, and he went 6 of 6 from the free throw line. He had a block. He had a block, and he had 3 steals. But it didn't feel like you saw a whole lot of J-Dub tonight when he was on the court. It reminded me of Boston. When you go and watch Boston, sometimes you look at the stat sheet and Jalen Williams has – or not Jalen Williams. Jaylen Brown has 25 points, and you'll be like, when did he get those 25 points? And I felt like J-Dub was the same way tonight. You just didn't notice he was on the court half the time. And I feel like J-Dub and Chet are going to have to reestablish themselves. And I don't feel like outside of last game, I don't feel like they've done a super great job of that this series, which I think has partly been the problem because Shea has been double teamed most of the time. Like Denver you saw it in Memphis series, they're dedicating an extra man to Shea half the time.
Yeah, they're playing smart basketball. They're saying we're gonna force everybody else around you beat us. And I mean, isn't that kind of how you want? Isn't that what you want, right? Don't you want to force the best player to get the ball out of their hands and make everybody else beat you? That's exactly the best game plan you could possibly have. What the Nuggets did not expect was everybody else stepped up.
Yep.
Like you got Chet, you got Alex Caruso who stepped up. Chet started to get you a little bit. Like the Thunder shot like crap from three. I mean, Denver for the most part too, 10 for 41 and 11 for 45. Neither team was making shots, but you did start seeing OKC take it to the butter. Shot charts started to look a lot better as the game came down the line, which to me is the most important. You want fourth quarter to look like a ton of shots on the inside in comparison to the outside. That to me is where OKC was able to buckle down and win a super close game by saying, "Oh, we're not going to let us beat ourselves. We're going to go play some good defense and we're going to take our time and we're going to drive full speed at the rim and force them to stop us." The ball movement is what allowed for them the opportunity. That J-Dub drive and layup where he was going full steam down the line and Denver couldn't do anything because the pass came to him and he immediately cut and went.
Mm-hmm.
That's some of the more stuff you need to see out of them. And Denver's going to either foul or they're going to let them make the layup. Now, granted, of course, I think somebody missed a layup like right there at the rim. I forgot who it was late at the game. And you're like, "Oh, you can't miss those," but it happens.
It
The good
happens.
thing is you got a lot more out of J Dub on that. And J Dub getting himself to the free throw line was key to me because he was cold, but he was hot the game before. That's when OKC should have been giving him the ball at the end of the game instead of giving it when it was fourth quarter and you're up 102-99. Dub was cooking that entire game. Keep the ball in Dub's hands. Dub probably gets you that W, and you're up 2-1, and you win this one. You're up 3-1.
I think a lot of that comes to inexperience from Mark's part and learning how to coach the team to go with the hot hand at that point, because the team has, for the most part this year, leaned on Shea in those moments. And I think that's a learning point, right? Just like he did today. I felt like putting Caruso in the fourth quarter and sitting Dort was a learning moment for him. And so I feel like it's the same way for Mark, kind of trying to lead the guys to go and maybe draw up a play for J-Dub at the end. I don't know what that play looks like at the end, but it looked more like it was drew up for Shea in game 3 than it was for J-Dub.
It was. I mean, Dub scored your last 9 points.
Yeah.
In that game. He scored the final 9 points in the fourth quarter. Forced Denver to defend him.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you had to do. And I don't know if it's just I don't put it all on Mark. I put it on the players too. At a certain point, when you get out there and it's in crunch time, you know what you need to do. Instead of giving the ball to Shea with 30-something seconds left, you put the ball in Dub's hands. Say, "Nah, Dub, we're running the offense through you, and we're going to keep going." In this game, nobody was really doing much, but Shea closed us out. Shea closed the game out very well.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, Dub still finished making the last 4 points of the game, if you really think about it. I mean, he had 6 of the last 8 points. So, of course, as we're talking about Dub and the way he played, he had 6 of the last 8 points in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, Shea gets a jumper, gets a driving layup. First, Dub gets the driving layup. Then Shea gets one, and then Dub makes free throws.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. And I still lean in on Mark and his decisions. Maybe he was thinking that, the star was going to wake up, the MVP candidate was going to get bigger. But overall, in that and watching the way the team was playing, they, stats aside, just eyeball and watching it, they locked down at the end the way they should have locked down in game 1 to win. They locked down and started to go to their spots when they knew they weren't hitting the shots they typically want to hit. They started going to their spots, and the drive started happening. They started getting to the rim. Everybody contribute, and that to me is what was huge.
And I think what was huge in this game compared to game 1, I think a lot of people in game 1 wanted to put, and I think the refs definitely didn't help Oklahoma City out, but the refs did not lose you the game.
No, not at all.
And this thing, if you would have lost the game today, I think the refs, like Denver got a lot of foul calls, but I don't think it was the sole reason you lost the game. You had opportunities to close it out and you didn't. So, I think for Oklahoma City to be able to hang your hat on, you've been able, even in game 1, been able to be in these close games with all of these factors going against you, I think this is good because in game one, Jokic had video game like numbers.
He really
You had
did.
the refs kind of against you, and you lost the game by a couple points. And then today, you were able to take advantage of Jokic having a bad game, the Nuggets having a bad shooting night, the refs giving the Nuggets a ton of free throws. But today, you were actually able to close it out. It was kind of like almost a little bit of a reverse of game one.
Yep.
But kind of looking at the outlook for games 5 and 6, because you and I both have this series going in 6 games. I thought it would be the latter. I thought Oklahoma City was only going to have to win 1 in Denver, but now they're going to have to win 2. So what do you think it's going to take at this point for Oklahoma City to be able to close this out? Because I think right now, looking at any team to win 2 in a row in this, it looks difficult. So what do you think it's going to take for Oklahoma City to close this out right now?
What's going to take from them is, simply put, they're going to have to do again what they did in game 3, most likely. Because I think Denver's going to give their best punch. While at the same time, OKC has a very good chance to pull off another game 2 and just destroy them. And if they do that, they should go for it. Close it out that way. Punch them in the mouth. End it. Done. Blow them out. But now, we talked about this in the green room. I think this is the one thing that is one thing that could, to me, make it tough to do the to blowing them out if they blow them out. And that thing is, if they blow out Denver, it's going to give them the opportunity to rest players. And the one thing you don't want to do is allow them to rest players. You want them to have everybody going 100 miles an hour as long as possible. And if you do that, you'll be fine.
Do you think this is one of those things where Oklahoma City needs to, if they're hitting shots, they're playing really well, they need to do everything they can to keep Denver in arm's length? When I say in arm's length, I'm talking like 15 to 20 points.
No, I don't feel like that.
Because I feel like there's some strategy here in that mindset of not allowing Denver to feel like, the Warriors did against the Rockets. And what game was that? Game 5, where like Steve Kerr just decided to sit all of his starters by the mid-second quarter because he's like, we ain't got a chance and we need the rest. Like, I don't feel like you want to give Denver an opportunity like that.
I don't think Denver would be able to do that, though. I don't think they're in a position to be able to get rested enough for this team. Because remember, we talked about this before too. Thunder are the most rested team to me in the NBA. They had 50-plus wins by double digits, where they were, and Shea didn't play in a lot of fourth quarters. Your team is pretty rested. So you're doing the complete opposite of a lot of other teams who had to play in a lot more closer games. So they're pretty well rested. The Stars are, at least. The Stars are pretty well rested. You just now got to close these games out, which I think they can. If you can blow them out, you blow them out. Screw it.
It's just interesting because when you look at Denver,
it is an interesting conversation. I agree.
I mean, cool. Because think about it. Like when you look at Denver right now, Oklahoma City, I think they were even with them this year, right? And then same thing. If you have to go play Minnesota, they were 2-2 in the regular season with Minnesota.
Yeah.
So like when you look at the regular season and what you pull from those games.
I asked this question as you point that out real quick. Sorry to interrupt you, but how many of those games had every single Thunder player playing?
Not a lot of them.
Exactly.
But at the same time,
that's where you cannot use that as an example. That's the tough part. Thunder were full strength most of this year. Most of the year. Not just some game. Most of the season, the Thunder were not full strength and still won 68 games. They have to get back to blowing teams out. That's where they're most comfortable. Now, again, this win was good.
When you can't do that. You have to get comfortable when you can't do that.
Correct. Like you said. Now that's a very fair statement. And there's nothing wrong with having some close games for them. They've got to just get used to it. They've done it before. They just got to get used to it. But the bigger thing is they be blowing teams out there. That's what they've always done. So
Yeah, I think my problem is let's say Oklahoma City wins this game in 6 or wins the series in 6. You're gonna have to go play the Minnesota Timberwolves, who I think there's a likely chance they beat the Warriors 4-1 at this point. Like the Minnesota Timberwolves
possibly.
haven't played great and have beat the Warriors, you know, two what is it, 2 games at this point, 2-1 in the series.
Well, Steph Curry's also not playing.
I know Steph Curry's not playing, but they might not give Steph Curry the opportunity to come back and play. I
Oh
mean,
no, you're not wrong.
so
You're definitely
you're
not
Oklahoma
wrong.
City, you're gonna run up against a Minnesota team that's gonna have maybe a little bit more rest than you, and also a Minnesota team that did at the end of the season, I think they beat you twice handily when you were fully ready, fully healthy. So you're not. I don't think you're going to get an opportunity to blow Minnesota out. So I think you have to get comfortable in winning the games in the way you did today. You got to get comfortable because you're not going to blow everybody out. You might in the finals because I don't think any of the Eastern Conference teams, like if you go up against a Boston team with Oklahoma's perimeter defenders, I think Oklahoma can blow Boston out because Boston lives and dies by the 3 ball. And if you're Oklahoma
I
City,
think you're wrong there.
I think you've got enough good perimeter defenders to, if they want to sell out on it, let them sell out and let them beat you, right? Because they're not going to. With Cleveland, we didn't have a good enough sample size there, but I feel like Oklahoma City matches up very well with them. And again, Cleveland likes to shoot a lot of threes as well. The Knicks, they don't shoot enough threes, right? You know, they want to get physical down in the paint, and Oklahoma City can play that game with them as well. And if they're not going to shoot threes, they're going to have a hard time beating Oklahoma City in a series like that. So I feel like in the East, you can blow them out. In the West, it's going to be hard at this point. From here on out, it's going to be hard. That game 2 where you blew out the Nuggets, I feel like is an anomaly. In my opinion, I feel like that game is an anomaly based on what we've seen in this series and what we've seen in the regular season from Denver. This is a championship winning team. Like they know how to win games.
I mean, true. They also fired their coach right before.
Listen, I think that was part of a motivator for Denver.
I'm gonna be honest. I think it's a stupid motivator, but you know.
I mean, it's a stupid motivator. They're 2-2 right now at Oklahoma City in the round 2. Feeling pretty good about themselves.
You're not wrong. I don't think that changes for any of us that was probably an extremely dumb idea, but
it was an extremely
power
dumb
to
idea.
him.
Didn't work out for Memphis last series.
No, not at all.
All right. Well, hey, appreciate you coming on, talking Game 5 here. We're going to have to get you back, or Game 4. We'll have to get you back on, probably by the end of the series.
Yeah, we may have to. If I don't go to Game 5, which it's a home game, I have to jump home.
Yeah, that's going to be a late night game. I listen. Adam Silver's got to figure out this whole scheduling thing because
he hates us all.
I don't feel like. Listen, you know what? Next year, just don't put Oklahoma City in the 8:30 time slot. These time slots suck. It's hard to get up and be cheerful at 8:30 p.m. when it
really is
after a full day's worth of work. Like it's. And then you get these 9:30 tips like the other night when somehow that Cleveland game went way over. That's
hateful, man. It's a level of hate that I really don't appreciate. But at the same time, what can you do about it? But thanks for having me, PG. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on, Jay. So you've got a pro channel that you're going to be spinning up soon. Where can
one day
search?
So
where can people find you at? So that
search for me when I decide to get this going. Unfair Sports Show with Jay. Just search at Unfair Sports Show. Unfair Sports Show. Just search that on YouTube, and you'll find the channel, which will at some point become the home of me doing a lot more content. I just got to get on it.
Yeah,
one day.
If you talk pro sports on there, you can talk about my Chiefs.
Possibly. I'll talk all the hottest topics out there. We'll see how it goes.
All right. Well,
thanks for having me.
Coming on. All right.
Boom.
All right. That's it.